Hello, Bright Beginnings families. I'm Kristen Poisson. I'm one of the directors here at BBC, and I am going to be hosting you for our first Positive Solutions for Families video today. We're really excited to share with you this series of parent outreach videos this year. The sessions are going to be offered in a combination of videos shared with you online and in-person opportunities for you and your child to come and attend at school. The program we're offering to you is called Positive Solutions for Families. It's a series of modules put together by the Center on the Social and Emotional Foundations for Early Learning. The program offers a range of advice and ideas for parents to use at home, and it also gives you some insight into some of the behaviors you might notice from your child from time to time. So we're hoping that all of our families find this series really useful. Our first session is called Making a Connection, and this session will serve as a bit of an introduction for you to the program, and it will provide a foundation for the rest of the year and the rest of the sessions. Over the course of the school year, there will be 6 sessions offered, focusing on topics like helping children feel confident, relationship building, following directions, managing emotions, and learning new skills to replace challenging behaviors. Video sessions are going to be released every 6 to 8 weeks, and we're hoping that we'll also get some families to come and attend some sessions in person where we can have some in-person discussion on the topics that we've covered. Even if you're following along and watching the videos, you're encouraged to come to our in-person sessions as well, because the conversations that can come from the topics can be even more helpful and help to foster some new ideas for strategies to try at home. It's important to remember over the course of these videos being released this year that these sessions are for you. If you watch a video and you have a question or want more clarification on a topic, just send us a quick email and we'll try to cover those things in the follow-up videos. Raising small children can be really challenging at times. It can present a range of feelings and emotions from joy and laughter to exhaustion and frustration. And as parents, oftentimes even knowing that all young children display challenging behaviors at some point in their development doesn't always make it easier for you when you see the behaviors from your own child. So these sessions will help offer strategies to some of those behaviors that you might find challenging at home. So during today's video, we're going to begin by talking about how to nurture your relationship with your child, and then as we move through the sessions, we'll give you some great strategies to try. Today we'll begin by discussing the goals for the session. So we'll talk about the importance of building positive relationships with our children. Relationship building is one of the keys to encouraging positive behavior. And through the series, we'll talk about tips for strengthening your relationship with your child, but also helping them to build relationships with others. We'll also talk about the power of positive language. And then, as I mentioned, we'll give you some things to try at home over the next few weeks. As we move into the bulk of this presentation, I want you to take a minute and just think about someone who was really important to you growing up. It might be a parent or a grandparent or even a teacher. Think about what made you think of that person. And think about what this person did to make you feel special as a child. Every child needs someone who's crazy about him. This is such an important quote for us to remember. We as parents want to be the person in our child's life who makes them feel loved and special, just like the special person you just thought of now. With this in mind, let's talk about the idea of spending time with our children. We all know that spending quality time with our children is important, but sometimes the reality of following through and making that time can be more of a challenge. There are a number of benefits to spending quality time with your child. Children often experience increased self-esteem and have more positive relationships with their peers. Parents get to know their child better and experience a more pleasant household environment. Oftentimes there are barriers, though, in your own life You might think of things such as not feeling like you have enough time, too much stress, an unsupportive partner, or a child who presents with a lot of challenging behaviors that can make that time more challenging than rewarding. Parents sometimes also report just not knowing how to play with their child. But when we think about the benefits we talked about, they really do far outweigh the barriers. The benefits are all the things that help our children build positive relationships, both with us and with others. Quality time with special adults also gives a great boost to their social and emotional development. One way to think about your relationship with your child is to picture it as a tank that needs to be filled and refilled on a regular basis. We can all relate to having to fill and refill our car's gas tank. It's the same way with our children. Their tanks always need refilling. When adults are negative or harsh or critical, these words and actions drain the gas from the tanks. If you think about a time when someone was negative or critical of you, you can relate to how that makes you feel. When we actively build relationships with positivity, with hugs, smiles, encouraging words, active listening, playing, it's as if we're refilling their tanks. When we refill their tanks, we're strengthening our relationship and building their competence and confidence. The more refilling we do, the more confidence they have in developing relationships with others. It's important to remember that building positive relationships is mainly about positive time and attention, not giving your child things. Some no-cost strategies for building positive relationships with your children might be things like reading books together, taking a walk together, talking or singing together in the car, eating a meal together, saying I love you, asking your child about his day, letting your child help with a special task, or even just sitting and playing together. Encouragement from an adult they love can provide young children with a huge boost to their confidence. So these 6 tips on the screen now can help make encouragement that you may give your child more meaningful. So to illustrate these tips, let's look at some situations when parents use positive comments and encouragement and see what we think about them. In the first scenario, I want you to imagine a mother doing dishes while her young daughter is playing quietly nearby. Without turning to look at her daughter, the mother says, I really like how you're playing quietly. The daughter doesn't look up or respond. In our second scenario, imagine a grandmother watching TV while her grandchildren sit on the floor playing nicely together. Grandma looks at the children and says, good job. The children look up, but they're kind of confused, and then they keep playing. If we think about our tips that are on the screen now and what happened in these scenarios, these adults could benefit from the first 2 tips on our list. Get your child's attention and use behavior-specific language. Giving specific encouragement when you have a child's attention is really important. If a child doesn't hear the encouragement, doesn't know it's for him, or doesn't understand what the adult is talking about, then the encouragement is ineffective. So instead of saying good boy or good girl or good job, try something like, wow, what a great job you did cleaning up your toys. Let's try thinking about another scenario. Imagine a father and son doing the dishes together. The father looks at his son and says, thanks for doing such a great job with the dishes and not rushing through like you usually do. If we look at tip number 3, keep it simple, avoid combining encouragement with criticism, we find that one of the most important parts to offering encouragement to your children is not to mix encouragement with criticism. So another example of doing that might be, thanks for listening to me the first time and not making me repeat myself 10 times like you usually do. These types of statements are ineffective because it creates an opportunity for the child to only remember the criticism and not the positive comment. In our last scenario, imagine that mom arrives home from work as dad and their daughter are setting the table for dinner. Dad says to mom, Allie is such a great helper. She set half of the table all by herself and was playing nicely with Madison so I could finish cooking dinner. Allie smiles as mom gives her a hug and says, I'm so proud of you. I bet you're proud of yourself for setting the table and helping dad. In this scenario, both parents encourage the child with specific, enthusiastic comments that deliver praise in front of other adults. Allie is really likely to repeat the positive behavior because it's been positively reinforced using the tips listed in our slide. Delivering praise in front of other important adults in a child's life is one strategy that tends to leave a big impression on children. This strategy also allows two adults to work together as partners in reinforcing good behavior. This slide gives you some examples of statements that can give you some ideas of specific, impactful encouragement for children. If you notice, these examples follow the tips provided in the last slide. For example, it's so much fun to play with you. You are so good at sharing your toys. This statement is a more specific version of I'm having fun. It offers the child specific encouragement about what he's doing well and lets him know that his special adult is enjoying their time together too. The other statements also offer specific encouragement and positive compliments for the child. The statements help the child internalize their positive behavior and make it more likely the child will repeat the behavior in the future. We hope that this first session has been really helpful to you. Over the next few weeks, think about 5 things you might try to do to help refill your child's relationship tank. Try to really think about your specific child and his or her likes or dislikes. Choose things that will make your child feel really special and help build your relationship. In addition, try incorporating more of the specific types of encouragement and positive comments that we talked about. But most important, whatever you try, make sure to have fun with your child. Feel free to send us some feedback on this first session and things you enjoyed or things we can improve upon in our subsequent sessions. We'd also love to hear any stories about people trying these tips at home. Teachers are going to be talking a little bit about this session 1 video during curriculum night later in the month, and video session 2 will be released in October. Thank you so much for viewing, and we hope you've taken away some good tips.